So if you chose MetalGarurumon as your starter deck of choice, then welcome to the Wolf of Friendship Budget Guide. Alrighty. MetalGarurumon here, purple base, which I'm definitely excited for. Looks really cool. And yeah, let's just open it and check out what we have right here as per usual. For the deck, we have, of course, the deck. Kind of thought it would be nice to include like a BT14 pack. You know, in the older days when they had like starter decks, they actually included booster packs, like one booster pack in each of them, which is kind of neat. But yeah, I think that would be still really cool if they still include that, just for more funsies for opening. Really nice playmat once again. If only if it was a rubber, cloth, or whatever playmat they can just make officially and hand them out, would always been fantastic. But anyways, let's just go straight into the deck right here and see what we have for today as we open it up. So first and foremost, Sunamon here. This one is when attacking, if it's 6 or fewer cards in your hand, you get to draw one. It's going to happen a lot likely because it's a purple based deck. You're going to be trashing a lot of cards in your hand while you're doing this. So this gives you really good cyclability, and it's not once per turn as well. Really important because Garurumon can attack multiple times the same stack by unsuspending and stuff. Then we got Elecmon right here. It has a simple on-play draw 1 for 3 cost, which is kind of neat. Just like Gabumon, basically. The blue Gabumon, which we used to have. Speaking of Gabumon, we have Gabumon right here itself. Start ST16, Digivolving for 0 on top of any Sunamon for 0. Start of your main phase, your opponent has a Digimon. You get to gain a memory. Fantastic. And then it's inheritable when attacking once per turn. Draw 1, trash 1. And yeah, great for cyclability. You definitely draw a lot of cards in this particular deck. That's why you definitely want to see it. Then we have Tapermon right here. Simple inheritable, retaliation. Basically, you know, deleting the opponent's Digimon after you battle with this guy that has retaliation. And then we have another Gotsumon, another retaliation right here. Thought it was going to be a blocker, but for 4 costs, when this Digimon attacks an opponent's Digimon, you lose 2 memory. Pretty interesting here, huh? For 4 cost, retaliation that you just get to drop down, but you have to pay 2 memory. That's a lot to pay for, actually. Then we have a Bakemon or Bakemon blocker right here for 2 costs. Miramon, simple effect on deletion, gain a memory. And then I guess here we're moving into the shiny cards. We have Garurumon. Looks fantastic right here with the texture foiling and all that as well. Digivolving for 2 on top of purple, level 3. Otherwise, you can Digivolve for Gabumon, any Gabumon for cost of 2 as well. Security effect lets you play a Gabumon or a Matt Ishida from your hand or trash without paying the memory cost. Basically, a mirror of the Greymon, which we know of from the other deck, the Star Deck 15. This one has when Digivolving, draw 1, and then you get to trash 1 card. Then trash 1 card from your hand. You have to do it either way. When attacking, draw 1, trash 1. Exact same as Gabumon, as you guys can see already. A lot of drawing and trashing when it comes to this. We have Pumpkinmon here. On play 1 purple level 3 Digimon card from your trash without paying the memory cost. For 6 costs, that's kind of neat. And then you get to play something back. Okay, pretty nice. And then we have Mammothmon. It's a blocker. It has retaliation. Basically, purple shenanigans. A lot of retaliation going on in this particular deck. And then we have a Were Garurumon. Now, keep in mind, guys, this particular one has the incorrect text. I believe Bandai has misprinted this because its first main effect is when attacking once per turn by trashing 1 card from your hand and suspend this Digimon. That effect is correct. The inheritable, I believe, is incorrect, and it should be something else. Now, one thing is that if you purchased a deck with your local game store, you actually get the errata pack for this particular card right here, and I'm going to show you guys side by side, and you should be getting 2 copies of these per pack because each deck has 2 copies of the Were Garurumon. I know Bandai made mistakes, and a lot of errata mistakes have been made, but one thing I'm really happy and glad about was that they addressed this soon enough and gave us distribution on the same day when this deck is released, and by doing so, we players at least have access to these cards immediately kind of like making not much of a difference at the end of the day. I guess the bonus, you can look at it, now we have an extra Garurumon to play with, but it doesn't have the right effect. So really important, you can still play with the wrong effect one, but you have to make sure that you're using and applying the correct effect of the one I'm holding here on the left. So very, very important, and keep that in mind to sort of prevent any confusion. I personally just recommend to use this one over this one, and then put this one aside and kind of forget about it. But that's just my own recommendation right here. So as you can see, the inheritable should be, when attacking once per turn by trashing one card from your hand, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon that's level 4 or lower. That's what the effect should be, and that's how exactly what it is. So keep in mind, you compensated for it. Make sure to double check with your local game store that they're handing these out every copy of the starter deck that you're getting, because these are really important, and these are the effects that really should be, especially when you're new players, this is something that you may not know. So yeah, keep that in mind. Anyways, MetalGarurumon Ace here once again. Not once again, but looks like it actually has a different texture compared to the BT13 one. I'm going to put it side by side so we can compare it, but it looks really cool, really sick. This one does a whole lot of things, but we're going to talk more about it in the deck profile and the combos as well. But essentially, when you blast Digivolve this and hand trap your opponent's turn, you can potentially even pass your opponent's turn with this kind of effect, which is insane. Skull Mammothmon right here, which is a secondary level 6. When Digivolving, draw 1, all turns once per turn. When your opponent's when one of your effects trashes a card in your hand, you get to play one purple level 4 Digimon card from your trash for free. That's pretty neat. You trash a lot of cards, so yeah. Matt Ishida, Memory Tamer of the deck, and you get 4 copies of, which is fantastic. All turns, when one of your effects trashes a card from your hand, suspend this Tamer to gain a memory. It's all turns as well, so sometimes you do trash cards during your opponent's turn, being your MetalGarurumon Ace. And then we got the dedicated option, I guess, Layman of Friendship. If you have Matt Ishida, you can use this without meeting color requirements, because you sometimes might play a blue mat just because. And then you have return one Digimon card from your trash to your hand. Then one of your Digimon with Garurumon in its name, gain on deletion, play this card for free until the end of your opponent's turn, giving a bit of floating capability. 3 costs, which is kind of nice, pretty neat. And we have Baldy Blow. Looks like an alternative version of like Kaiser Nail. For 4 costs, delete one of your opponent's Digimon that's level 5 or lower. Pretty good for 4 costs. Removing like that, pretty strong removal card. And then that's basically it for the entire deck that we get from 1 copy. And then of course the memory gauges with Gabumon and MetalGarurumon, and the starter deck, guys, that if you guys are new, definitely read it and check it out as well for sure. But with that being said, when you participate in the pre-release, you get to get a bunch of these, or at least a couple of these, like pre-release local friendship packs. So let's quickly open them. Again, basically a hollow version upgrade of some existing cards and a pre-release version, which is really nice. Pretty interesting. The pre-release version of this Garurumon has the right text. So again, I know they made mistakes, but I guess we'll give it to Bandai for addressing it quickly enough so we have access to the right card immediately without having to wait for revision packs, which I don't personally like, having to wait for revision packs usually. So anyways, so we get to open another one. Very fantastic. We got Elecmon here and a Baldy Blow. Okay, pretty cool. So that's it for the opening. We're going to open the second deck, and then we're going to construct and build together the budget deck with utilizing 2 copies. So we'll just get right there to show you guys what the deck profile looks like. Alright, Digi-Egg cards, dedicated Digi-Egg of the deck, 4 copies of Sunomon, which gives you the draw power that you need. Draw 1 if you have 6 or fewer cards when attacking, not once per turn, so if you ever unsuspend, it's always going to be really great, so they can draw and sort of like add more cards to your hand. That's what it's all about. Then let's talk about our rookies now. 4 copies of the brand new Gabumon right here, gaining memory essentially with its start of main phase effect as long as your opponent controls the Digimon, and then it's inheritable when attacking. Once per turn, draw 1, trash 1. So again, helping you cycle through cards is great. And as for our other rest of the rookies, 4 copies of Elecmon, on play, draw 1, always fantastic to have, with no stipulations whatsoever. But then you also have to trash 1 card from your hand afterwards, which is totally fine. That's what purple does usually, so great setup when it comes to early cycling. Then 4 copies of Tapermon. This one's going to be your main one that you want to Digivolve because it just gives you retaliation with no stipulations and no requirements. So it's always great to have for sure when it comes to need to have some removal tools. And talk about removal, Gatsumon that also has retaliation is always great. This card's a little bit contradictory just because you mainly have retaliation, so you want to swing at your opponent's Digimon, but if you do swing at your opponent's Digimon, you have to lose 2 memory. Otherwise, you can swing your opponent's security and you don't have to pay any memory at all. So kind of interesting right here with this particular guy. That's it for level 3s. Now let's talk about level 4s, where we do play 4 copies of the main level 4 of the Garurumon, which essentially has kind of like a security effect to help you get some value, because when it comes out for security, you get to play 1 Gabumon or 1 Tamer with Matt in its name essentially. Of course, the security battle usually just happens and you just delete it afterwards as per usual. It does have when Digivolving, draw 1 and then trash 1 card from your hand. And then with its inheritable, when attacking once per turn, exact same as the Gabumon, draw 1, trash 1 as well. So really good when you're building your stack as you're sort of digivolving as well at the same time, just because you can draw and trash a lot of cards with it. Then we have 4 copies of Bakemon or Bakemon right here. It is your main blocker of the deck. 2 costs to digivolve, otherwise it can cost 4 to hard play, which is always kind of neat as well. And then 3 copies of Meramon with its on deletion. You get to gain a memory. Very simple with this effect. It does cost 2 to digivolve, and yeah, it doesn't really provide you too much other than that. Moving on to level 5s. 4 copies of Garurumon. Once again, very, very important note to keep in mind, guys. Make sure you're playing the errata version that comes from the errata pack along with your starter deck purchase, so that with the inheritable, you're making sure that when attacking once per turn by trashing 1 card from your hand, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon that's level 4 or lower. That's its correct effect right there. And for its main effect, it's when attacking once per turn, trash 1 card from your hand, you get to unsuspend this Digimon, which is kind of neat. In most cases, you actually want to attack with your opponent's Digimon with this effect, so then when you unsuspend, you can continue your combos that way and make more value out of it. You really kind of want to attack into security simply because it's still just 8k. It can be fairly weak. It can potentially get removed and threatened, which is a really, really big deal. But we are going to be getting even more support for this particular deck from EX5, and it's going to make this deck incredibly amazing when that set comes out. So definitely stay tuned. Subscribe, turn on that notification bell if you do want to see that deck when it does come. I'll be working on it for sure. And if you do want to see first drafts of that eventually, be sure to join the AVAULT Club membership while you're at it, because you get to see first draft deck lists and as well as all updated deck lists on there too. My entire arsenal of decks are on there, guys. So definitely be sure to join, and I really appreciate the support. As we move along, 4 copies of Mammothmon. Mammothmon is a big blocker for your level 5, but also gives you the retaliation inheritable, which is kind of nice to have every now and then. Then, to round off for all the level 5s, 2 copies of the Pumpkinmon that cost 6 to hard play, and essentially you always want to be hard playing this particular guy because it does let you play a level 3 back from your trash when it's unplayed, and 2 is really all you need. And it's always particularly nice when you do get to play this card if you have a memory tamer and your opponent does at the same time, so then you can pass them back at the perfect 3. That's it for level 5s. Now let's talk about our level 6s, showcasing the main boss Digimon of the deck, where we do have the 4 copies of MetalGarurumon Ace. It does cost 6 to hard play. Rarely you want to do that, but it can be memory efficient at times. It does cost 3 to digivolve on top of level 5 purple. And with the brand new sort of like mechanic, you can potentially digivolve by blast digivolving with the hand counter for free during your opponent's turn. It can also digivolve on top of a Garurumon in its name that's level 5 for the 3 cost 2. But otherwise, like I mentioned, the main new mechanic again is with the ace countering, so that you can potentially digivolve during your opponent's turn. And when digivolving effect, you can trash up to 3 cards in your hand and gain 1 memory for each card trash, potentially passing your opponent's turn or ending your opponent's turn, or even at least restricting the amount of plays that they can make from the memory gain, which is fantastic. It has a when attacking effect as well. You get to trash 1 card from your hand to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level that they have. Otherwise, it does have the ace overflow -4 if it ever leaves the field in any way, leaves the battle area, whether it's returned to hand, bottom decked, sent to trash, sent to security and whatnot, you immediately lose 4 memory. So with such a powerful card, make sure you guys are playing it, with caution as well. So we'll talk about that more in the combo segment, so definitely stay tuned for that too. Then, last but not least, a round for level 6s, 3 copies of Skull Mammothon, your secondary level 6 boss Digimon that costs 4 to digivolve. When digivolving, draw 1, trash 1, And then all turns, once per turn, when one of your effects trashes a card from your hand, you get to play one level 4 or lower Purple Digimon card from your trash for free, which has a great synergy with his first effect, which is always fantastic. So really, really good stuff there. That's it for all the Digimon. Let's move into Tamers. 3 copies of Matt Ishida, which is your main memory tamer of the deck. It has an all turns effect as well as a secondary part, where one of your effect trashes a card in your hand. By suspending this tamer, you get to gain a memory. So really, really neat here and there. Potentially, extending more plays, being able to digivolve more and whatnot, and play more cards if you will. This guy is always fantastic and has great synergy with your entire engine. For options, main removal option of the deck, Body Blow. Simply just delete a level 5 or lower Digimon for 4 costs. Very memory efficient, very nice, very great. No other requirements whatsoever, so always a fantastic card to always have. Then, to last but not least, to round up for all the options, we got the 3-cost Layman of Friendship. You can always use this card as long as you have Matt Ishida in play without meeting the color requirements, but we do mainly play purple anyway, so that doesn't matter too much. Being able to return 1 card from your trash to your hand to help you cycle a little bit is kind of nice because you do draw and trash a lot. You sometimes might end up trashing cards that you might want to see later on, which is always great. And then otherwise, it has the on-deletion effect, giving you one of your Digimon. If it gets deleted, you get to play it back as well. So kind of neat, kind of interesting, and yeah, pretty nice tech right there. Alright, combos and how to play this MetalGarurumon Star Deck Budget Guide right here. Since talking about the mulligans, and after all, this is a starter deck too, really what you're trying to find is, again, level 3s, level 4s, to continue to build your stack and then into your 5s and then your 6s. That's really what you want to see in the opening hand, just so you don't break enough cards to cycle and continue to climb for your stack that way, which is very, very simple. So, with the main combo, let's talk about the Garurumon and Gabumon line. As you Digivolve into Gabumon here, once you're ready to go, you can potentially just push it up. If your opponent has a Digimon, you get to gain a memory. Essentially having 2 memory here is always fantastic. So then you can go into Garurumon right here. And then when Digivolve, you get to draw and trash one. If it ever comes out, security is always fantastic because it lets you play your mat. It lets you play another Gabumon for free. So by having that kind of value is always fantastic if you ever get to do that. And yeah, eventually you do want to have to set up your mat at some point by paying the memory, whether by playing it for free, whatever you do so, because it does start your turn at 3. Eventually, as you're building your stack, of course, we have Garurumon here, and this is where you really get to choose to go for offensive or defensive playstyles here. Now with Garurumon, you can actually potentially go really aggressive because with its when attacking effect, you can trash something, and then you get to draw 1, trash 1 with Garurumon, draw and trash 1 with Gabumon as well, and then draw 1 with Sunomon if you have 6 or fewer cards in your hand, keeping it always, giving yourself some type of healthy hand size to have. So you get to unsuspend, and then when it attacks, and with AK, like I mentioned, it could be problematic because you don't really have jamming or any kind of protection to sort of like stop it from being deleted. But if you want to go for aggressive, that's how you want to go for, and you can swing again and repeat. Otherwise, eventually, you might even want to then afterwards Digivolve into MetalGarurumon Ace in your own turn, trashing 3 cards from your hand so that you can gain 3 memory back, essentially paying 0 into this guy, and they can swing, and you can delete a lot of things while you're doing so, because with its when attacking effect, you can trash one of your cards to delete one of your opponent's lowest level Digimon, or you can sequence it differently, deleting one of your opponent's Digimon with the Garurumon by trashing 1 card to delete a level 4 first, and then you can end up deleting something that's higher with MetalGarurumon. So sequence however you will and however you like, which is always really good with this card and this deck, just like that. Now, for the defensive side of things, let's just say you Digivolve into Garurumon and you pass turn, you sit right there. Sometimes you might want to disrupt your opponent's plays and turns. They might overcommit. If they ever go to 0 memory or 1 memory or even 2, they're in the danger zone, because if they attack, that's when you can blast Digivolve into MetalGarurumon using the exact same effect. Just trash 3 cards from your hands, and then you can gain 1 memory each. So if they're at 2, you put yourself back to 1, so you end their turn effectively. They do have to resolve the attack afterwards and have everything finished off, and then you can potentially start your turn at 3 memory because of that, and you just simply ended the turn. Really, really powerful card, just like really, really interesting, and yeah, pretty crazy when it comes to that. Now, that's basically just the Garurumon and the whole MetalGarurumon line. Sometimes you don't always have the luxury to build the perfect stack like that, which this deck is kind of versatile when it comes to, having to ping pong into other cards. Going into Tapermon is always more ideal because it immediately gives you the retaliation right here. You can go into Meramon. If you ever have a Digimon that your opponent is big on the board and you really need to remove it, you can swing into them with Meramon. And on deletion, you have Retaliation, you get to draw a card with Sunamon, and also gaining that memory if you ever do so, just like that. As well, if you ever have, let's say, another combo that you want to build into, you might sit here with Bakemon right here as a blocker with Retaliation, is also really good pressure against your opponent. Also, another early stage of the game, you want to play Electmon, hard play it so you can draw one and trash one. And then if you ever have Matt Ishida, whenever you're trashing cards, you get to spend Matt and you get to gain a memory, which is always fantastic. Otherwise, sometimes hard playing the Gotsumon is kind of nice too. Itself has Retaliation, and then you can just kind of like sit there and relax. And then a really short burst combo is that if you ever have like 3 memory, your opponent also has a memory setter, like I mentioned, you can just hard play Punkemon right off the bat, and then you can immediately just play like a level 3 back, just like that, with its effect. And then, during your opponent's turn, you can get ready to blast Ace or blast Digivolve on their faces with MetalGarurumon Ace, just like that too. Very, very nice versatile combo right here, which is always nice to see. And otherwise, back to your stack building. Let's just say you Digivolved into Gotsumon, and then maybe like Garurumon, and then eventually you have your Mammothmon right here, which is your big blocker of the deck. Pretty versatile as well at the same time. If your opponent needs to attack into you, you can always block. Otherwise, you're getting ready to blast Digivolve at all times if you have it in your hand. But then let's talk about the Skull Mammoth combo right here. Digivolving the Skull Mammoth for 4 cost, you do get to draw one and trash one. And by drawing one and trash one, you can also use Mat, gain the memory back for when Digivolving, effectively making this a 3 cost and retaining your turn, which is always fantastic. And then otherwise, with its all turn once per turn effect, if you do trash a card from your hand, you get to play a level 4 lower Digimon back from your trash, which is always going to be nice to see. You can either play Bakemon, Gabumon, you can play Electmon, you can play Meramon, anything that you really have access to is always going to be nice, so they can start floating for more bodies and then have more swings, and build a wider board. Itself has Retaliation still, is always great, and then you can attack, you get to draw and trash one, same as usual, using those inheritables to draw more cards and trash more cards as you're doing so while you're playing this deck. And that's exactly the simple way how to learn it. Really, really fun stuff. And just like all other budget deck guys I always cover on this channel, there's definitely going to be a full power version for this particular meta where we incorporate all the other MetalGarurumon cards together and build a fully functional, powerful deck with all of these new cards, which I'm really excited to show you guys. So if you guys haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe, turn on notification bell to stay tuned for that. And if you guys haven't checked out the Wargreymon Starter Deck Dragon of Courage guide yet, be sure to watch it right here, right now. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video. And this is AVAULT, signing